Yo, what's up, chat? Hey, Hope, how's it going? What's up, sunny side up? Good afternoon to you. Hey, Wing Chun, how's it going? How is the weather? The weather is fine. You're eating mango sticky rice with coconut butter. That sounds good. What's up, Squee? Squee B, how's it going? Hey, Losh, nice of you to join. Speaking of food, do you guys know? You guys know what egg tarts are? Egg tarts. Wait, let me show you. Egg tart or egg custard. Yeah, this. These are so good. These are so good. Yeah. There's this place near where I live. Well, not near, but like an hour away. There's a place called Golden Gate Bakery. They're really famous, okay? And they're famous for their egg tarts. Yeah, there's this little shop in San Francisco. Um, yeah. Yeah, the problem with that, it's so good. The problem with that place is that apparently, it seems, I don't know what's going on in this place. It seems that they're so popular that they never have, like they're never open. They're always on vacation or something. Like, you would go to Golden Gate Bakery expecting to get some really delicious egg tarts, right? Yeah, you would go and then there would be a sign that would, oh, we're on vacation for 3 weeks. Come back later, right? And they never warn you. They never warn you. It's just random. Okay? It seems that they're closed more than they're open. Yeah, there's actually a Twitter account. There's actually a Twitter account that tracks when they're on vacation. So like people will send in DMs to this account and say, "Oh, hey, it's open today. It's open today," and the account goes, "Oh, Golden Gate Bakery is open today," and everyone just goes and gets in line. Yeah, but man, that place is good though. They were closed when you went? They're always closed. I don't know why. Yeah, and they managed to stay open, so I guess they're just way popular. What's up, Peepzilla? How's it going? Raspberry. Nice of you to join. Hey, what's up, Nikki? How's it going? Tuck, cutter, tuck. All right. Let's see. What do we get on my Africa quiz? All right. What did we get last time? Like 80%? 83? What was it? I think it was 83. Let's go for, let's shoot for the moon, guys. Let's go for 84. 84. Let's see if we can do it. Gabon. Is this Gabon or is this Gabon? I feel like this is Benin. Okay. Benin? Okay. Tanzania? No idea. Here. So those here. Mauritius should be here. Egypt. Chad is probably this one. Kenya is here. Niger is here. Somalia is here. Ah, fuck! Why? Western Sahara. Liberia. South Africa. Nigeria. Toot. Zambia. This is Gambia, right? Zambia. Oof. Close. Guinea. Ghana. These two. Guinea-Bissau should be here. Mali. Ethiopia. Oh, where's Sudan? Uganda. Is it here? Fuck. This is Rwanda. Is this Uganda? Ah. Malawi, Djibouti, Cape Verde. Democratic. Angola, Namibia. Fuck. Comoros. Tunisia. Algeria, Morocco, Mozambique. Alright, where's Mozambique? Ivory Coast, Senegal, Rwanda, Eritrea, Tanzania, Togo, Seychelles. Ah, which one's Zimbabwe? This one. South Sudan, Burkina Faso. Dude. Burundi. Gambia. Cameroon. Botswana. Oh, 82. Oh no. Oh no, we went down. Why? Ah, I missed this. This is Ethiopia. This is Somalia. Shit. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. We got 100 some days, boys and girls. Alright. One of these days, Africa! Okay. I don't know what this is. Today's snack. French papiro. Papiro. Yeah. Alright, we shall see. Oh, it is. It's hold on. Oh, it's gonna make a mess. Okay. Yep. It's some kind of roll. You're right. Yeah. What is it? Hold on. It's sweet. The filling is green tea. Pretty good. Not bad. Yeah. It's like green tea filling. Not too sweet, so it's pretty good. It's 7.5 out of 10. How about that? Reminds me of the Chinese egg roll snacks. Yeah, those little rolls. Have you guys had those? Those long rolls? Yeah, I've had those as a kid too. Yeah, I've had them so much that I can't eat them anymore. All right, guys. What happened last week in our story? So last week, what happened? Oh yeah, last week this bitch Azu, she puts a permanent iron mask on You Tanzhi, okay, and she makes him her slave, okay. Remember, You Tanzhi is the guy who's trying to get revenge on our hero Xiao Feng. All right. Yeah, because his dad and his uncle died under Xiao Feng's hands. Yeah, so even though he's trying to kill Xiao Feng, he seems like a good guy. Okay, he's just trying to get revenge, being a good son. So yeah, so she makes him her slave, and he's enamored with her beauty, right? So he's happy to stick around. But then she just finds like different ways to torture him, like letting a lion bite on his head, on his iron head. So one day she takes him out hunting for poisonous creatures, right? She takes out this little wooden tripod or little cauldron that lures poisonous creatures from around the area, right? So she puts, I think she puts like some spices inside the cauldron and it burns and it makes this smell and it attracts poisonous creatures, right? So she puts it there and they're hiding. And this centipede enters the tripod. Okay, and then when it enters, she closes the tripod, and she catches it, right? And Azu, she lets this centipede suck the blood of a rooster every day for a whole week, right? All the roosters all died of poison, but the centipede just kept getting fatter and fatter, right? After a while, after a week, she orders him to let the centipede bite him. And he does, right? He lets this poisonous centipede bite him. He expects to die. Then he puts it back into the tripod, and this black blood oozes out from a hole in the tripod. I guess it cooks the centipede or something. The black blood oozes out from the tripod. Azu puts it on her palm, and she practices her martial arts. Okay, because the martial arts of her sect, because her sect has a lot of poisonous martial arts. So she does her martial arts and then she absorbs that poison blood into her body. You Tanzhi, meanwhile, he's poisoned by the centipede. Okay, he becomes like super itchy. Okay, and then he's having like the worst time of his life. He's banging his head on the wall to fall unconscious because he doesn't anything to get rid of this itch. He's rolling around on the floor, and while he's doing that, this book falls out of his body. And the book, that was a book that he stole from Xiao Feng. Xiao Feng had gotten it from Azu, who stole it from the Shaolin Temple, right? So Xiao Feng dropped it the day that they met, and You Tanzhi kept it. So he's rolling on the floor, and his tears and his spit and snot, they wet the pages of the manual, revealing a secret drawing of someone doing this yoga pose. So, yes, he's rolling around on the ground, and he suddenly he manages to do this pose of that he sees on the page, and as he's doing that, he finds that the itchiness has subsided, right? So he keeps on doing it, right? It's like a yoga pose. He doesn't know it, but he's practicing the tendon altering sutra of the Shaolin Temple. Yeah, so he practices doing that, and he survives. Okay, which surprises Azu, and she's delighted. So she keeps capturing bugs and letting them bite him to practice her martial arts. Now, one day, so she keeps doing that. One day, they find this silkworm that's the color of like pure white jade, and it gives off this cold that freezes everything around it. Right, so yeah, everywhere that this silkworm crawls, it's like it's freezing the surroundings. So it seems to be like the king of all poisonous creatures, right? So he chases it. He chases it into a temple, and turns out it's a pet of one of the monks there. And while the monk is away, Yotanju lures the silkworm into this gourd and closes it, and then he runs away with it. And as he's running, the silkworm is like it's freezing the gourd. It's getting colder and colder, and then it's like the gourd is getting frozen. So he takes off his belt and he ties it to the gourd, and then he keeps on running. Okay, and that's where we stop. How's that? All right, so we're at chapter 29, the despicable matchmaking with the freezing palm. All right, so Yotanju, he's running with the gourd, right? Yotanju carried the gourd and traveled quickly back to Nanjing. He reported back to Azu, saying that he has caught the frost silkworm. Azu was overjoyed. She ordered him to rear the silkworm in the clay urn. Currently, it is midsummer. The weather is burning hot. Wait, I think we're doing past tense. The weather was burning hot, but when the frost silkworm was being kept in the urn, the palace gradually got colder and colder. Not long after, even the teapots, cups, and the tea water all turned to ice. During one night, Yotanju shivered in his bed. He was freezing and could not sleep. He thought, "This silkworm is really strange. It is rarely seen in this world. If Miss really let it suck my blood, even if I don't get poisoned, I will also freeze to death." Azu caught several poisonous snakes and bugs to fight with the silkworm. The silkworm simply moved around and all the bugs froze to death. The silkworm feasted on their juices. This went on for 10 days. Not a single poisonous bug was able to resist. One day, Azu came into the main hall of the palace and said, "Iron Clown, we will kill this silkworm today. Go stick your hand into the urn and let the silkworm suck your blood." Yotanju was worried about this day. When he was dreaming at night, he feared this exact moment. Eventually, Azu did not show any mercy and wanted to sacrifice him along with the frost silkworm. His heart was dejected. He gazed at Azu. He did not move or reply. Azu pondered. "I acquired this treasure by accident. The poison palm skill I am training now, it might be even more powerful than my master." She said, "Stick your hand into the urn." Yotanju was tearful. He knelt and kowtowed. He said, "Miss, when you master this poison palm, please don't forget your subordinate who died for you. My surname is Yo. My name is Tanju. I am not Iron Clown." Azu smiled and said, "Fine, you are called Yo Tanju. I will remember it. You are very loyal to me. Very good. You are a loyal and devoted lackey." Yotanju listened to her praise. That was praise. He felt comforted. He gave another 2 kowtows and said, "Thank you, miss." But he was not willing to give up without a fight. Immediately, he flipped his body upside down. His head went between his legs. His left hand clutched his leg. Right hand reached into the urn. So he's doing the yoga pose. In his mind, he was thinking about the small arrowheads on the 2 words beside the monk in the book's drawing. Suddenly, he felt an itch on his index finger. A stream of cold energy shot out like an arrow. It started from his arm and swiftly went into his chest. Yotanju kept thinking about the direction of the small arrowheads. The stream of cold energy followed the meridian path directed by his thoughts. It went from his finger to his arm, and from his chest to the top of his head. The cold energy chilled him to his bones wherever it went. Azu saw his odd posture. She found it funny, but after a long time, he still maintained the posture. She became curious and approached his body. The frost silkworm was still biting his index finger. The silkworm's body was transparent, like crystal. She saw a thread of blood entering its mouth. It passed by its left body, made a U-turn, and passed by its right body and back into its mouth, flowing back into Yotanju's index finger. After a while, a thin layer of frost formed on Yotanju's iron mask, clothes, and limbs. Azu pondered, "He must be dead. A living person would have body heat. How can frost form on him?" But she saw blood still circulating within the frost silkworm. Apparently, it was still sucking blood. Suddenly, wisps of hot steam issued from the frost silkworm. In the midst of her surprise, there was a gentle clattering sound. The frost silkworm fell off Yotanju's index finger. Azu had already prepared a stick. She rammed it down hard. She thought this supernatural silkworm would not die with this one stroke. But who knew that when it fell into the urn, its belly faced the sky? It just stayed there and did not turn around. The silkworm was pounded into pulp in one move. Azu rejoiced and quickly stuck her hand into the urn. She stuffed the silkworm's fluid and blood onto both her palm, closed her eyes, circulated her energy, and absorbed all the blood and fluids. She channeled for half a day, stretched out her hand, and stood up. She saw Yotanju was still upside down, his head between his legs, body covered with frost. She was extremely astonished. She reached out and touched his body. His hands emitted a strange coldness, his clothes frozen stiff. She was shocked but found it funny at the same time. She summoned the attendant and ordered him to bury Yotanju. The attendant led a few Khitan soldiers and they put Yotanju's corpse on a horse carriage. They went outside the city. Azu did not instruct them to give a proper burial. Thus, the attendant did not bother to dig a grave and simply threw the corpse into a small brook. They went back into the city. This act of laziness from the attendant actually saved Yotanju's life. When Yotanju was bitten by the silkworm, he immediately used this energy circulation method from the Tendon Changing Sutra. The poison gas was neutralized. His blood was sucked by the frost silkworm and returned back into his finger, and the deadly frost poison of the silkworm was absorbed by him. Thus, the blood and fluids absorbed by Azu was completely ineffective, and she wasted her effort. If Yotanju had completely mastered the energy circulation method of the Tendon Changing Sutra, he would be able to slowly neutralize the frost poison absorbed by him and greatly increase his internal energy. But he only learned one method, thus he couldn't expel the poison. The strange frost poison was the number one most yin and cold element in the world. It froze his body solid immediately. If the attendant had really buried him in the soil, even after a few hundred years, he might not defrost and might not actually die. Currently, his body was submerged in water. It slowly flowed downwards. After around 10 li, the creek made a turn, and his body was trapped by the reeds at the side. After a while, the water surrounding his body all turned to ice, forming a crystal coffin. Water continued to rush and wash over him, bit by bit. The cold air washed away. Eventually, the ice covering his body started to melt. Luckily, he was wearing an iron mask. Iron transfers heat and cold quickly. Thus, ice covering his mask melted first. Water rushed into his head, and he started coughing. He was conscious and clear-headed again. He climbed out of the brook. Ding-dong sounds came from his body. Evidently, he still carried a lot of ice on his body. Initially, when his body froze, he did not lose consciousness, but he was stuck in the ice and could not move. After being frozen for a long period of time, he lost consciousness. Now that he safely escaped, he felt as if he just woke up from a long dream. He sat by the side of the brook. He thought about his loyalty and devotion to Azu. He willingly risked his body to feed poisonous bugs to help her practice her skills. But when he died, Azu did not even give a sigh. Looking out from within the ice, he saw her beam with pleasure and took all the silkworm's fluid and blood, spread it on her palm, and practiced her skills. She only looked sideways at him, thinking that he died in a fun and strange way. There wasn't the slightest bit of pity from her. He pondered. This frost silkworm is exceptionally poisonous. It's worth more than 1,000 poisonous bugs and snakes. After absorbing the poison into her palm, Miss would naturally master her poison palm. If I go back and see her... Suddenly his body trembled, his heart grew cold, and he thought, once she sees me, she will definitely test her poison on me. If she mastered the poison palm, she would naturally kill me with one stroke. If she has yet to master it, she would definitely ask me to catch more poisonous bugs and snakes until she mastered her palm, until she can kill me with a single palm stroke. I will die either way. Why should I even go back? Yeah, why did you even stay in the first place? He stood up and jumped a few times, shaking off all the ice on his body. He thought, where should I go? He dared not seek Qiao Feng for revenge anymore. At the moment, he was undecided. He wandered around the wilderness and mountains, picking wild berries and catching birds and small beasts for food. During the night on the second day, he felt bored. He took out the Sanskrit tendon-changing sutra. He thought of following the posture of the monk in the drawing. The book was completely soaked. He flipped the page cautiously for fear that he might damage it. But he was surprised as he saw drawings of the monk on every single page. Their postures all different. This is how he learns his martial arts, I guess. After some deep contemplation, he finally understood. The drawings would only appear when wet. He was not saved by Buddha. Starting from the first page, he copied the posture. When he thought about the small red arrowhead on the strange words, he felt a faint thread of cold ice traveling around his limbs and bones. It was as if the frost silkworm was still alive and crawling inside his body. He became fearful and quickly stood up. The frost silkworm inside his body vanished immediately. For 4 hours, he kept thinking, the frost silkworm inside my body, has it left? But he couldn't touch, feel, or even track it. He couldn't bear it anymore and started to imitate the odd posture and contemplate on the small red arrowhead, on the strange words. After a while, the frost silkworm started crawling inside his body again. He gave a loud cry and stopped contemplating on the arrowhead. The silkworm vanished again. When he started to think about the arrowhead, the silkworm crawled again. Every time when the frost silkworm crawled, his body felt comfortable and unrestricted. The book contained many different postures of naked monk. The small arrowhead on the strange words twisted and turned, its variations complicated. He followed the various different postures to activate the frost silkworm. He felt cool yet warm. He was comfortable and at ease. Time flew and a few months passed. When capturing beasts, he felt his hands and feet becoming lighter and more nimble. He leapt and jumped further. His running speed greatly exceeded what he was capable of in the past. On a certain evening, a hungry wolf came out to hunt for food. It pounced towards him. Yu Tanjie was in shock and fled quickly. The claws of the wolf had already reached his shoulders. It exposed its fangs and bit towards his throat. He panicked and randomly threw out a palm, hitting the wolf on the top of its head. The wolf rolled and twisted a few times and stopped moving. Oh, he's powerful now? Yu Tanjie turned around and moved back a few jung. He saw the wolf did not move at all. Feeling curious, he picked up a stone and cast it out. The stone hit the wolf's body, but it still did not move at all. He was pleasantly surprised and went over to inspect. The wolf was dead. He never expected his effortless palm stroke had this much power. He turned and inspected his palm repeatedly, but did not see anything special. He could not help but cry out, "The spirit of the frost silkworm has shown itself." He thought that when the frost silkworm died, its spirit resided within his body, resulting in his amazing feat. He did not realize that it was purely due to his tendon-changing sutra. In addition, the frost silkworm possessed one of the deadliest poisons in the world. This yin poison had been absorbed by him, combined with the superior internal energy cultivated by the tendon-changing sutra. His internal energy contained an extremely fierce yin strength. The Tendon-Changing Sutra was the most treasured supreme manual of martial studies, but its cultivation method was extremely difficult. It required the dissolution of distinction between self and others. In addition, the practitioner must not have the slightest desire to learn the martial arts of the sutra. But only first-class martial monks would get the chance to practice the sutra. All of them were valiant and eager for success, who didn't want to master the sutra as soon as possible and reap its benefits. Hence, it was extremely difficult for them to not have the slightest desire to learn the sutra. For several hundred years, many Shaolin eminent monks practiced the sutra, but year after year of diligent practice yielded negligible results. Thus, all the monks thought the sutra was wholly ineffective. When the sutra was stolen by Aju, although the eminent monks were extremely angry, they did not consider it to be a major loss. 100 years ago, the Shaolin Temple had a monk. This person became a monk since childhood. He was dull-witted and crazy. His teacher could not master the tendon-changing sutra and threw it away in anger. The crazy monk picked up the book thrown by his teacher. He laughed and practiced the contents. Eventually, he became a top martial arts expert of his generation. Although his martial arts was outstanding till his death, he did not know the exact reason, and nobody knew it was due to the tendon-changing sutra. Yo Tanju did not have the desire to learn martial arts. He followed the methods in the sutra purely for the sake of activating the frost silkworm within his body, as he found it fun and interesting. Unwittingly, his martial arts improved day by day. He followed the exact same route taken by the crazy monk many years ago. Yep, so this sutra, you can only learn this martial arts when you don't want to learn it. Days after, he killed several more wild beasts. He knew his palm strength was exceedingly strong, and he became bolder. He kept on traveling south. He feared that if he did not summon the frost silkworm spirit for a single day, the spirit would automatically leave him. Thus, he used his palm every day and dared not stop. The silkworm spirit was marvelous and strange and always came when summoned. Yo Tanju drifted south. On this day, he reached the borders of Hunan province in the central plains. He knew his iron head would scare people off. Thus, during the day, he rested in caves within wild forests. As night fell, he came out and stole food from homes. His body was exceptionally agile, and nobody detected him. On this day, he was sleeping in a small, dilapidated temple beside the road. Suddenly, he heard the sound of footsteps. 3 people entered the temple. He quickly hid behind a shrine as he dared not let others see his appearance. When the trio entered the temple, they sat down immediately and started chatting. The trio rambled and talked about gossips in the martial world. Suddenly, a person asked, "Where do you think Chao Feng is hiding? 1 year has passed, but we didn't even hear a single news about him." When Yo Tanju heard the word Chao Feng, his heart grew cold. He immediately paid attention to their conversation. Another person replied, "He committed all sorts of evils. He felt guilty and hid himself. I guess we will never see him again." The first person said, "It might not be true. He's biding his time. Once someone is down and out, he would strike immediately." Do your math. After the battle at Juxian Manor, he killed how many people? Elder Shu, Grandpa and Grandma Tan, Chao Qianzun, Taishan Iron-Faced Judge, and his entire family, Tiantai Mountain Monk, Qi Guang, Beggar's Clan Madame Ma, Elder Bai Shijing, countless lives. When Yotanju heard the word battle at Juxian Manor, his heart ached and he lost his interest in the conversation. That battle was where his father and uncle died. After a while, he heard a hoarse voice say, Clan leader Chao has always been benevolent and righteous. I never expected. I never expected. This is all predestined fate. Let us just go. He finished speaking and stood up. Another person said, Old Wang, you said our clan is recommending someone to be the new clan leader. Who is it? The hoarse voice replied, I don't know. We've been recommending numerous people for over a month, but we just can't find a suitable hero that can gain the respect of the entire clan. We can only wait and see. Another person said, I can read your mind. You are hoping that Xiao Feng would come back and be our clan leader again. You better abandon that idea and stop dreaming. If these words reach Hall Master Chan, your life cannot be guaranteed. Old Wang got anxious. He said, Xiao Bu, you said these words yourself. When did I say I want clan leader Xiao to be our leader again? Xiao Bu sneered. You still address him as clan leader Xiao. You dare say that you don't want him to be the clan leader again? Old Wang raged. If you keep spewing nonsense, I will beat you to death. The third person stepped in and mediated. Enough, we are all clan brothers. Let's not spoil the relationship. How can Xiao Feng become our leader again? He is a Khitan dog. Everyone will fight until death if they see him again. Moreover, even if we invite him to be our clan leader, you think he will agree? Old Wang sighed and said, You are right. As he finished, the trio left the temple. Yotanju pondered. The Beggar's Clan is searching everywhere for Xiao Feng, but they can't find him. How would they know that he is already the lord of the southern chancellery in the Liao Empire? I will tell them this information. The Beggar's Clan has overwhelming numbers, along with a few experts from the Central Plains. We might be able to kill that traitor. I will follow them and kill Xiao Feng. When he thought about returning to Nanjing, he thought of seeing Azu again. His chest immediately heated up like an oven. Oh no, he's still in love. Why? He hasn't learned his lesson. He tiptoed out of the temple. He saw the 3 Beggar Clan members walk on the road, heading west. He followed behind quietly. It was already dusk. There was no one around. He traveled for a few li and came to a low-lying land. He looked to the distance and saw a bonfire within the mountain valley. Yotanju pondered. My iron mask is very strange. They will make a mountain out of a molehill if they see me. I should hide within the vegetation and eavesdrop. He jumped into the grass bush and slowly crawled towards the bonfire. He crawled for a few jang and stopped. He gradually crawled closer again, but he heard a huge commotion. A large number of people gathered at the bonfire. Yotanju experienced great sufferings recently. He dared not be careless. As he got closer to the bonfire, he crawled even slower. He crawled behind a large rock and was separated a few jang from the bonfire. He dared not move any more. He laid low and listened. Among the crowd by the bonfire, someone spoke. Yotanju listened for a while. It seemed to be members from the Hall of Great Wisdom of the Beggar's Clan. They gathered here to discuss who to recommend as the next clan leader. Some pushed for Elder Song, some pushed for Elder Wu. Another person said, Speaking of wits and courage, we should recommend Hall Master Chan. Unfortunately, Hallmaster Chun was expelled by Qiao Feng. We still haven't settled how to let him rejoin the clan again. Another person replied, The treacherous affair of Qiao Feng was exposed by Hallmaster Chun. He rendered a huge service to our clan. It should be easy to let him rejoin. Once the General Assembly starts, we will first settle the matter of letting Hallmaster Chun rejoin the clan. We will bring up his great contribution, and then recommend him as the next clan leader. A cool and bright voice said, oh, this is Hallmaster Chun. It's possible for me to rejoin the clan, but you cannot recommend me for the position of clan leader. People might gossip and say that I exposed Qiao Feng for selfish reasons for selfish reasons of displacing him as the next clan leader. A person said loudly, Hallmaster Chun is a person who does not shirk responsibility. Although our clan leaders have better martial arts, but when it comes to resourcefulness, no one can be compared to you. Again, against Qiao Feng, we can only pit our wits against him, not force. So Hallmaster Chun replied, Brother Shi, I have yet to officially rejoin the clan. You can't call me Hallmaster Chun. Dawn Minuth. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. You're picturing a horse voice instead of horse voice? Lol. 200 beggars around the bonfire chipped in. Elder Song has instructed, temporarily, you are still Hallmaster, so why can't we call you Hallmaster Chun? In the future, when you become the clan leader, you no longer need to care about this Hallmaster position. Even if Hallmaster Chun does not become the clan leader, at least you can be promoted to clan leader, and you can still continue to lead your former hall. Correct. Even if Hallmaster Chun becomes the clan leader, you can still take up additional responsibility as Great Wisdom Hallmaster. As the crowd was getting lively, a clan member came from the entrance of the valley and said, Reporting to Hallmaster, Prince Duan from the Dali Kingdom is requesting an audience. Hallmaster Chun immediately stood up and said, Prince Duan from the Dali Kingdom. Our clan normally does not have dealings with Dali Kingdom. Brothers, the Duan family from Dali is well known for its martial arts. Since Prince Duan is personally requesting an audience, everyone should go and greet him. He led all the members to the valley's entrance. Yay, Prince Duan. Is that Duan Yu? Is that our Duan Yu? Hey, thanks, Peepzilla. I appreciate it. A young man stood smiling at the entrance. Yep, it's Duan Yu. Hey, he's back. He was accompanied by 7 to 8 people. This young man was Duan Yu. Both men cupped their hands and paid their respects. They met each other before at the apricot forest in Wuxia. At that time, Chang Guanqing did not know Duan Yu's identity, but his embarrassingly affair of being expelled by Qiao Feng was seen by Duan Yu. He could not help but feel slightly embarrassed, but he immediately calmed down, saluted, and said, I didn't expect Prince Duan to come visit. You came from such a far place. I ask for your forgiveness. Duan Yu smiled and said, It's fine. Junior receives orders from my father to inform your honorable clan of a certain matter. I hope it won't be an inconvenience. Both of them exchanged a few pleasantries. Duan Yuan was accompanied by... What, Duan Yuan? That's Duan Yu, right? Duan Yu was accompanied by Gu Ducheng, Fu Sigui, and Zhu Danchen. Chang Guanqing invited Duan Yu to sit down on a rock by the bonfire. Clan members brought and served wine. Duan Yu took a drink and said, A few months ago, my father was at the residence of Deputy Leader Ma in Xinyang. He encouraged a strange affair. He personally witnessed the death of Bai Shijing from your honorable clan. But my father had sustained some injuries. He is still recuperating. The movement of your clan's elders is not fixed, and did not have the opportunity to meet them. Thus my father could not present the letter he wrote. A few days ago, we heard that your hall is gathering here, and I was ordered to come here quickly. He retrieved a letter from within his sleeve, quickly stood up and presented it. Chang Guanqing also stood up immediately and received it with both hands. He said, I am sorry to have troubled Gentleman Duan to personally deliver this letter. I thank Prince Duan for showing great concern to my humble clan. He saw the letter was sealed. It bared the words, to be personally opened by the beggar clan's elders. He knew that it was not appropriate for him to open the letter. He said, our clan will be holding a general assembly soon. All the old and young will be coming. I will then personally present Prince Duan's letter to our clan's elders. Duan Yu said, I'm sorry to trouble you. Junior will take his leave now. That's it. Chang Guanqing quickly said his thanks and said, our clan's elder Bai and Madame Ma died under the treacherous hands of Qiao Feng. Prince Duan personally witnessed this matter. Duan Yu shook his head and said, Elder Bai and Madame Ma was not killed by my big brother Qiao. Deputy Leader Ma was harmed by someone else. My father explained all these in the letter. Hall Master Chan will know the full details in the future after reading the letter. Duan Yu thought, this matter cannot be explained with just a few phrases. You are not a good person. I don't need to waste time to explain it. I don't need to waste time and explain it to you. I don't think you have the guts to hide my father's letter. He cupped his hands towards Chang Guanqing and said, till next time, you don't have to see us off. He turned around and walked the valley's entrance. He met two beggar clan members and two men. The two men gave each other a look. They moved a few steps forward and bowed towards Duan Yu. They presented a red invitation card. Duan Yu took it and perused it. The card wrote the words, Chu Xinghe respectfully invites all the world's most talented chess players on the 8th day of the 2nd lunar month to be at Henan's Legu Mountain to play chess. He said, excellent. Junior is not burdened with any more important matters. I will definitely be at the chess meet. But how did you two find out that I can play chess? The expression of the two men were delighted. Yi yi ya ya sounds came from their mouths. They made huge gestures. It seemed both of them were mute. Duan Yu could not understand their gestures. He smiled and asked Zhu Danchen, Legu Mountain is not far from here, right? And he handed the invitation card to him. Okay. So these two mute people suddenly gave him an invitation card to play, to come to a chess meet. Chess is Go, not the other chess. So remember, we know from the beginning that Duan Yu is pretty good at chess, right? He's pretty good at Go, so he's gonna be interested. Zhu Danchen took a look at the card. He cupped his hands towards the two men and said, the son of Prince Zhinan of Dali pays his respect to Mr. Intelligent. Who? He expressed his gratitude, and he will promptly visit at the appointed date. He pointed his hand at Duan Yu and made a few gestures. The two men bowed again to pay their respects to Duan Yu. They took out another red invitation card and presented it to Chang Guanqing. Chang Guanqing took a look at the card. He respectfully gave it back to the man. He waved his hands and said, Chang Guanqing from the Hall of Great Wisdom of the Beggars Clan pays his respect to Mr. Intelligent. My chess skill is shoddy and laughable. I dare not go to the chess meet. I hope that Mr. Intelligent will be understanding. The two men bowed towards him. They bowed towards Duan Yu again, and they left. You ever seen the movie Go? I have not. Only now did Zhu Danchen answer Duan Yu's question. Leigu Mountain is to the south of Xiangshan, northeast of Chu Yuan Bridge. It's not far from here. Duan Yu took his leave from Cheng Guanqing and exited the valley. He asked Zhu Danchen, "What kind of person is Mr. Intelligent, Shu Xinghe? Is he the national Go champion of the Central Plains?" Zhu Danchen replied, "Mr. Intelligent is also known as the deaf-mute old man." Duan Yu gave an ah sound. He heard his father and uncle discussing about the deaf-mute old man before. He was a prestigious expert within the Central Plains. He was deaf and mute, but his martial arts was exceedingly high. His uncle was extremely respectful when mentioning him. Zhu Danchen continued, "The deaf-mute old man is disabled, but he insisted on calling himself Mr. Intelligent. It seems he thinks his wits and penmanship will beat people's hearing and debating skills." Duan Yu nodded his head, and said, "It seems reasonable." After walking a few steps, he gave a long sigh. He listened to Zhu Danchen say that the deaf-mute old man's wits and penmanship will beat people's hearings and debating skills. He could not help but think of Wang Yuyan's narration martial art, beating people's fist and weaponry skills. He's still thinking of her. After rescuing the beggar clan members in Wuxi with Aju, Bao Butong, and Feng Bo arrived and met up with them. The five of them headed north to search for their young master Murong. Duan Yu naturally wanted to follow them. Feng Bo was grateful towards him for sucking the scorpion's poison, and he welcomed Duan Yu. But Bao Butong was extremely unforgiving. He blamed Duan Yu for disguising as young master Murong and tarnishing his great reputation. Later, he even threatened to beat him up unless he scrammed. Wang Yuyan was only interested in finding her cousin and discussed endlessly with Feng Bo. She turned a blind eye to Duan Yu's situation. Duan Yu was helpless and could only grudgingly part with Wang Yuyan, but he still traveled north and thought, "You guys want to go to Hunan to search for Murong Fu. It so happens that I am also going to Hunan. Hunan province does not belong to your Murong family. If Murong Fu and Babu Tong can go, why can't Duan Yu go as well? If it so happens that I run into you guys again, then it must be fate, and Mr. Bao cannot blame me." But fate did not want him to meet Wang Yuyan just shortly after their recent parting. During the entire month, Duan Yu wandered around Hunan. He termed it a sightseeing tour, but in fact it was just looking around in all directions, hoping to see a strand of hair from Wang Yuyan, or just a corner of her clothes. As for the beautiful mountains and sceneries, he didn't even give it a glance. One day, Duan Yu was at the White Horse Temple in Luoyang. He was discussing Agama with the abbot. They discussed about Buddhist teachings on 7 treasures of the Chakravartin. Duan Yu was interested in the Jade Maiden treasure that is said to be neither long nor short, neither black nor white, a body that is warm during winter and cool during summer. The abbot shook his head repeatedly and said, "Buddhist Duan, this is an analogy in Buddhist teachings. Moreover, Buddha said that the 7 treasures is in impermanence." But he did not finish as 3 men suddenly entered the temple. They were Fu Sigui, Gu Ducheng, and Zhu Danchen. When Zhu Danchen left the residence of Ma in Xinyang, he met up with Ran Xingzhu and recuperated under her care. When he thought about how Xiao Feng was wronged by the Beggars clan for killing Ma Dayuan, he had to vindicate him. Thus he wrote a letter and ordered the trio to deliver it to the Beggars clan. So Duan Zhengchun is Duan Yu's father. So he wrote the letter because he knew that Xiao Feng was framed by these people. Fu Sigui and company came to Luoyang. They did not see any leading figures at the Beggar clan's main hall. They gathered information and knew that the Hall of Great Wisdom of the Beggars clan was gathering nearby. They hoped to deliver the letter there. But in a restaurant, they heard another amusing news about a daydreaming gentleman. The description of the appearance and behavior of the man seemed to be very similar to Duan Yu. They asked the whereabouts of this gentleman, and they came searching in the White Horse Temple. The four of them met up and was very happy. Duan Yu said, "I will accompany you to deliver the letter. After that, quickly bring me to see my father." When he learned that his father was currently in Henan, naturally he was anxious to meet him. But all these days he hoped to hear the slightest news about Wang Yuyan. He kept thinking about her day and night. He prayed that he might be able to meet her at the beggar clan's gathering. But this hope eventually came to nothing. Zhu Danchen saw him sighing. He assumed he was thinking about Mu Wanqing, but he could not offer no consolation. He thought of diverting his attention and said, "That Mr. Intelligent is widely distributing these cards and inviting people to play chess. His chess skills must be extremely high. Young master, after meeting Prince Junan, why don't you go and meet this Mr. Intelligent and play a few rounds with him?" Duan Yu nodded. "Yes, playing chess can relieve your worries. But although she is familiar with all the martial arts and all the weaponries, she can't play chess. She definitely won't go to Mr. Intelligence's chess meet." Okay, so this Mr. Intelligent is sending invitations to a bunch of people. Okay, it looks like it's going to be a big chess meet. Zhu Danchen was baffled. He did not know who Duan Yu was referring to. Along the way, Duan Yu was absent-minded, his speech incoherent, and he dared not inquire any more. The group traveled northwest. Duan Yu was frowning, and suddenly he nodded and smiled, muttering, "There's a saying in Buddhist scripture, thinking about beauty, her body filled with blood, 100 years later, turning into bone and dust." Although the saying is true, but even if she turns into bones after 100 years, she's still an incredibly beautiful bone. What? As he fantasized about Wang Yuyan's skeleton, he suddenly heard the sound of horse hooves behind him. Two people came galloping on horses, but he could not see their appearance clearly in the darkness. The two horses seemed to be out of control. They rushed towards the group. Fu Sigui and Gu Ducheng stretched out their hands, and they each reined in the horses. The riders of the horses were motionless. Fu Sigui was slightly surprised. He leaned over to check. The first rider turned out to be the messenger of Mr. Intelligent. His face revealed a faint smile, but he died long ago. Just a few moments ago, this man had personally delivered the invitation card to Duan Yu. How did he die for no reason? The other dead rider was also the messenger of Mr. Intelligent. He also died with a strange smile. When Fu Sigui and the rest saw this, they knew that these two men must have been killed by an extremely deadly poison. They quickly reined in their horses and moved back 2 steps. They dared not touch the corpses. Reminds me of the dead body contemplation video. True. All right. Time for a 5-minute break. We'll be right back. Let's see who killed these guys. All right. Be right back. And we are back. Okay. So they find these 2 corpses on horses. All right, and it was the 2 messengers that had just given them the invitation. Duan Yu was furious. That Hall Master Chan from the Beggar's Clan is really vicious. Why did he harm these men? Let's go and reason it out with him. He turned his horse around and was about to go find Chang Guanqing and interrogate him. Suddenly, a voice spoke out within the darkness. "Little boy, you are ignorant. In the entire world, except for the divine elder of Xingxiu and his sect, who has the ability to kill without leaving a trace, it will be fine if the deaf-mute old man obediently hides himself. If he dares come out, divine elder of Xingxiu will never let him survive, kid. This matter is none of your concern. It's best if you leave quickly. Zhu Danchen whispered, Young master, this is the affair of the Xingxiu sect. It does not concern us. Let's go. Duan Yu already lost his interest when he couldn't find Wang Yuyan. If these messengers were in danger, he would definitely step in and save them. But since they already died, he did not want to stir up more trouble. He sighed and said, it's not sufficient to be deaf. Their eyes must not see anything. Their nose can't smell any scent. Their mind incapable of any thought. Only then can they break away from their troubles. His speech was referring to Wang Yuyan. Since he already heard her voice, saw her smile and movement, all these etched deeply into his mind. Even if he was deaf and mute, he still couldn't break away from thinking about her. Unexpectedly, the man laughed and applauded. Yes, you are right. I should prod their eyes blind and cut off their nose and beat them up so badly that they can't even think. Duan Yu gave another sigh. It's useless to use external force. You see, you need to cultivate your inner self. Do not allow color, sound, and smell to stir your heart. But if you can let go of all self, you already reach Buddhahood. I am only a layman. How can I reach such attainment? Resentment, hate, love, parting, powerless, the five evil, the great sufferings of life. Yu Tanjie was hiding behind the vegetation. He saw Duan Yu and his entourage come and go. Someone was shouting in front. Two Beggars Clan members quickly ran over and quietly reported to Cheng Guanqing. Hallmaster Chan, the two mute men died for no reason. The perpetrator claims he was from the Xingxiu sect, and he is a subordinate of someone called the Divine Elder of Xingxiu. Cheng Guanqing got a huge shock. His expression changed instantly. He heard of the old freak of Xingxiu. This person employed deadly poison. His martial arts was also exceedingly high. He pondered. He killed the messenger of the deaf-mute old man. This matter does not concern us. It's best if we don't stir up any trouble. He replied, Okay, they are ghosts. Fighting another ghost. We need not bother. Suddenly, someone spoke in front of him. Scoundrel talking nonsense. How dare you curse me? Scoundrel talking nonsense. How dare you curse me as a ghost when you know I am the subordinate of the Divine Elder of Xingxiu? You are tired of living. Cheng Guanqing was surprised, and he could not refrain from taking a step back. Under the light from the torch, he saw someone standing upright in front of him, but it was his own subordinate from the Beggars Clan. He fixed his concentration and finally saw him. The person had a faint smile, his appearance strange. He was standing right behind another person. He shouted, Who are you? Pretending to be a ghost. What are you doing here? The person behind the Beggar Clan member replied, You are really bold. You said the word ghost again. I am the subordinate of the Divine Elder of Xingxiu. Divine Elder of Xingxiu is arriving in the Central Plains. He needs 200 poison snakes and 100 poison bugs. Your Beggars Clan is always well stocked with poison snakes and bugs. Offer them immediately. Divine Elder of Xingxiu will spare you lot of beggars if you respectfully present the items to him, or else you will become like this person. Bang! The Beggars Clan member in front of him immediately flew off and fell beside the bonfire. He was motionless. Apparently, he died long ago. When the Beggar Clan member flew off, a dwarf wearing poplin shirt was revealed. Nobody knows how he killed the Beggars Clan member and then hid himself behind the clan member. Cheng Guanqing was startled and angry. In a split second, many thoughts came into his mind. Old freak of Xingxiu messed with our Beggars Clan. If we don't give in to their demands, we have to fight it out. Although it's dangerous, but if I cave in to his threats and offer him the poison snakes and bugs, my clan members will forever look down on me. My hopes of becoming clan leader will be dashed. I can't even maintain my current standings within the clan. Luckily, the old freak of Xingxiu has yet to arrive. This person is alone. I don't need to be afraid of him. Immediately, he laughs and said, So you are from the Xingxiu sect. May I know your name? The dwarf said, I am called Tian Langzhi. Quickly, go and prepare the poisonous snakes and bugs. Chang Guanqing smiled and said, It's only poisonous snakes and bugs, small matter. We don't need any major preparation. He picked up a bag from the ground and said, Here's a few snakes. Please check it. Is it suitable for Divine Elder of Xingxiu? The dwarf heard Chang Guanqing say Divine Elder of Xingxiu. He was very pleased. Yeah, because most people say the old freak of Xingxiu. Seeing his expression respectful, he thought, It's said that the Beggars clan is the #1 clan in the Central Plains, but when they hear my master's name, they immediately turn limp. I will take these poison snakes. Master will definitely like it. He will surely praise me for being competent. Nevertheless, it's all due to the fierce reputation of my master. He immediately stretched his neck to look into the bag. Suddenly, all he saw was darkness. The cloth bag had already covered his head. Tian Langzi was shocked. He immediately struck out with his palm, but he hit nothing. But at this moment, his cheek and neck felt a slight pain. He was bitten by the poisonous bugs in the bag. Tian Langzi did not have time to remove the cloth bag. He ferociously sent out both his palms and retreated quickly. As his head was covered with the bag, he couldn't see a thing. Both his palms were attacking randomly. He fell for the oldest trick in the book. His face and head received another series of bites. He panicked. He extended his legs and fled, but his legs threaded on empty air. He lost his footing and rolled down the steep slope. With a splashing sound, he fell into the river at the bottom of the mountain and got washed away by the current. Chang Guanqing thought of killing him. He didn't expect him to escape, but the person was stung by poisonous scorpions and subsequently fell into the river. He was most probably dead, but since members of the Xingxiu sect are poison experts, they might have special detoxification methods. Since they lived at Xingxiu Sea, they would also know how to swim. If the person managed to survive, the Xingxiu sect would definitely come back and seek revenge. He said to everyone, At this moment, we can only deploy the giant python formation and stake it out against the old freak of Xingxiu. Could it be possible that we can't fend for ourselves without Xiaofeng and have to be humiliated by others? Xingxiu sect are experts in using deadly poison. We can't use our weapons and fists against them. We have to use poison to counter their poison. The Beggars clan members shouted out in agreement. Immediately, they dispersed. They arranged into the battle formation a few zhang away from the bonfire. Everyone sat down and crossed their legs. You Tanzhi saw Chang Guanqing use the cloth bag to defeat Tian Langzi. He pondered, There's probably numerous poisonous bugs in the bag. They have so many bags here. Are they all filled with poisonous bugs? It's not surprising for the beggars to be proficient in catching poison bugs. If I can steal a few of these bags and present them to Miss Azi, she will definitely like it very much. Once the clan members sat down, they did not make any sound. Everyone had a few cloth bags beside them. Some of the bags were extremely huge. Some had creatures swarming and moving inside. Yo Tanjir's hair stood on its ends when he saw all these. The atmosphere was silent. If he moved now, he would surely be detected by the crowd. He thought, I won't be afraid if they cover me with those bags. I have the protection of the iron mask. But if they stuff my entire body into the bag, then I will be in trouble. After a few hours, nothing happened. After a while, the sun started to rise, covering the hills and vegetation with bright lights. Birds were chirping on the trees. Suddenly, Chang Guanqing said softly, They are here. Everyone be careful. He was kneeling on a rock outside the formation, holding onto an iron flute. Music came from the north direction. A group of people walked unhurriedly. They were playing their wood instruments and drums. The music was melodious and pleasant. Yu Tanzhu pondered. Is this a wedding procession? The music got nearer and nearer. When it was 10 zhang away, it stopped. Several people said in unison, Divine Elder of Xingxiu arriving in the Central Plains. Beggar clan members, kneel down and greet him. Once they finished, the drums started thundering. After 3 rounds of drum rolls, there was a gong sound. The drums stopped. 10 people said in unison, We respectfully invite Divine Elder of Xingxiu to display your great skills. Subdue these demons and clowns from the beggar clan. Well, they're very fancy, huh? They have a whole procession. Yu Tanzhu pondered. It's quite similar to a Taoist ritual. He quietly peered out from the rock. He saw 20 people lining up in the northwest corner, some holding percussion instruments, some armed with long streamers and banners, red and green colors, pleasing to the eye. From afar, the banners were embroidered with words such as Divine Elder of Xingxiu, Almighty, Limitless Power, Inspiring Awe throughout the world, etc. As the music played out, an old man slowly strolled out. A dozen people arranged into 2 rows. They followed behind him, separated by a few zhang. Okay, let's see what the Divine Elder of Xingxiu looks like. The old man was waving a goose-feathered fan. Sun shone on his face. His face was ruddy, head full of white hair, 3 silver whiskers on his chin. He really looked like an immortal depicted in pictures. The old man walked towards the Beggar's Clan crowd and stopped moving when he was 3 zhang away. Suddenly he issued a few sharp whistles. He flicked his fan and waved away the whistle sound. 4 Beggar's Clan members sitting on the ground immediately collapsed. Yu Tanzhu had a huge shock. This Divine Elder of Xingxiu really has a powerful magic. The old man's face revealed a faint smile. With another z sound, he waved his feathered fan and another group of beggars collapsed. The old man's whistle seemed to be hiding some kind of lethal poison. In an instant, another 6 or 7 beggars collapsed. The crowd behind the old man cried out their praises. Master's skills will be remembered throughout the ages. These beggars pit themselves against us. It's akin to a firefly pitting its light against the sun, or a mantis blocking a cart. They vastly overrated themselves. Laughable, laughable. Master, you only need to laugh and chit-chat and these demons and clowns will die immediately. Such effortless, crushing victory. Disciple has never seen or heard such things before. Remember this sect? The disciples of the sect, they are very good at flattery. And they're expected to flatter their elders. This is a great achievement never seen before in the world. If Master did not reveal it, the people from the Central Plains will never know such skill exists. They kept singing their praises, feeling very smug. They started playing their instruments again. Suddenly there was a shoo sound. Cheng Guanqing brought the iron flute to his mouth and started blowing. Yu Tanzhu pondered. What's he playing the flute for? Supporting the Divine Elder of Xingxiu? Suddenly, noise came from the ground. A few brightly colored large snakes slithered towards the old man. The group of disciples beside the old man shouted, Snakes! There are poisonous snakes! Masters! These snakes seem to be heading towards us. Numerous poisonous snakes came slithering out of the cloth bags. Some were big, while others were small. All of them rushed towards the old man and his disciples. So this Cheng Guanqing guy can control the snakes with his flute. The crowd panicked and started screaming and howling randomly. The disciples of Xingxiu sect raised their steel staves. They pounded at the oncoming snakes. The old man's expression was calm. He still carried on whistling and waving his fan to repel his enemies. Cheng Guanqing did not stop blowing his flute. His clan members all shouted to show their support. More and more snakes gathered. Within moments, Xingxiu sect members were surrounded by a few hundred snakes. 5 or 6 of these snakes were giant pythons. A few giant pythons moved near. They coiled their tails and immediately trapped 2 people. Another 2 men were trapped subsequently. If these Xingxiu members turned their backs and fled, the snakes would not be able to catch them. But their master was still fighting, and they dared not leave. They could only brandish their weapons and pound randomly. They killed 8 to 10 snakes, but 7 or 8 of them were also bitten by the snakes. The giant pythons were even more dangerous. Their skins were rough and their bodies thick. They behaved as if nothing had happened when stuck by the steel staff. They coiled their bodies around the men and constricted, not letting them go. As the flute kept blowing, more giant pythons came out of the cloth bags. There were already 27 to 28 of them. Damn. 28 giant pythons? Oh no. Subsequently? Definition? Subsequently means afterwards. Like subsequently. Something happened after something. Yeah, afterwards. The old man saw the situation was unfavorable. He wanted to move back and attack Jiang Guanqing. Suddenly, 2 small snakes bit towards his face. He shouted angrily, "How dare you!" He waved his fan and brought down the 2 snakes. Suddenly, he felt something soft coiling around his ankle. He knew he was in trouble and quickly leapt into the air. He heard another shoo sound from the flute. 4 pythons raised their tails and coiled towards him. The old man was in midair. He struck out with both his palms. It hit the snake in front and to his left. His body flashed and he landed 2 jung away. At this moment, the tail of the 3rd and 4th giant python attacked him simultaneously. Under such pressing situation, he exerted his strength and sent out another palm. The palm force arrived, and 1 giant python was struck on its head, and its brain turned into pulp. You still want me to check subsequently? Oh no. Bridge. Afterward. See? You don't believe me? The mass of snakes gushed in like flowing river. The old man killed another 3 pythons, but his waist and right leg was trapped by 2 giant pythons. He gathered his internal energy and gave a loud cry. He clawed open the belly of the python on his waist. His body was splashed with blood, but the python was very resilient. Even though its belly was split open, it endured the pain and constricted even more. The old man's pelvic bone was about to fracture under the pressure. He is an old man. He struggled to break free, but another 2 giant pythons wrapped themselves around his body. Even his arm was trapped. He could not struggle anymore. Seeing such horrifying scene, You Tanju was so shocked that he could hardly breathe. Okay, that was a famous. What was his name? Divine Elder of Xingxiu. He was defeated so easily. Jiang Guanqing was very happy. His enemies were all trapped and bound by the giant pythons. They could no longer resist, and they cursed in rage. He stopped playing his flute, and he laughed and said, "Old freak of Xingxiu, your Xingxiu sect and my beggar's clan normally don't mess with each other. Why did you provoke us for no reason? What should we settle this?" This healthy old man was the most hated person in the Central Plains, the old freak of Xingxiu, Ding Chunqiu. One of the 3 treasures of his sect, the divine wooden king tripod, was stolen by Zi. He sent out numerous disciples to hunt her down. Even his head disciple, Chai Xingzi, was dispatched, but the returning news was always very discouraging. He last heard that Zi had the backing of Qiao Feng, and they heavily injured Chai Xingzi. Ding Qingqiu was shocked and angry. Ding Chunqiu knew the Beggars clan was the #1 clan in the Central Plains, and they were not easy to deal with. He also heard the deaf-mute old man was particularly active around Xing Lake in recent years. The deaf-mute old man was a thorn in his side, and he could never rest in peace with him around. Thus he thought of retrieving the divine wooden king tripod, and then resolve all these matters for once and for all. Hence he brought his disciples and personally traveled east to the central plains. He practiced the great energy dissolving skill, and he frequently required poisonous fluids of poison creatures to be smeared on his palm and absorbed into his body. If he did not absorb any poison fluids for 7 days, not only will his internal energy decrease, the poison accumulated in his body will also gradually flare up, as it was not suppressed by new poison. The repercussions were deadly. The divine wooden king tripod had a very special scent, coupled with the incense burnt. It will be able to immediately attract poisonous bugs. All poisonous creatures within a 10 li radius would not be able to resist being attracted by the fragrance. Oh, okay. So this guy, this old man, he has to absorb poison constantly. Okay, if he does not, then he could die from the poison that was already in his body. So yeah, he needed this divine wooden king tripod to lure the poisonous bugs. Unfortunately, Azu stole this thing, so he can't do it. Right, so he needs it back. So that's why he's looking for Azu. With this tripod, Ding Qingqiu could catch poisonous bugs without effort. His great energy dissolving skill naturally became more and more profound. Previously, Ding Chunqiu had a very talented disciple. He imparted his skills to him and taught him the great energy dissolving skill. But after some achievements in the skill, the disciple became self-conceited and was very disrespectful towards him. Ding Chunqiu subdued the disciple. He did not torture him, but merely imprisoned him within a stone house so that he could not capture any poison bugs. Eventually, the poison within his body flared up. It was extremely unbearable, and he could not help but tear his own muscles off to relieve himself. He moaned and wailed and eventually died after 40 days. Although Ding Chunqiu was delighted, he could not help but feel fear. He guarded himself and never imparted his great energy dissolving skill to anyone. Thus, Zhai Xingzi and the rest of the disciples did not know the skill. Azu wanted to learn the skill, and she had to eavesdrop secretly and also steal the tripod. Does this mean Azu would die if she doesn't keep absorbing the poison? Maybe. Yeah, what happens to her? Yeah, I think she... So according to what he says, I think she also has to keep absorbing poison, or she would die too. Or maybe she has not practiced the martial arts enough for that to happen. We're not sure. Peepzilla says yes. Oh no, is that how she dies? Azu was adept at scheming. When her master had finished absorbing fresh poison, she bid him farewell and traveled east. When the old freak of Xingxiu realized the tripod was stolen, it was already 7 days later, and Azu had escaped to a faraway place. She only traveled on remote route, even though the disciples pursuing her had higher martial arts. Their resourcefulness was way inferior to hers, and she managed to bluff her way through. She employed numerous decoy tactics and threw off all her pursuers. The residence of the old freak of Xingxiu was a gloomy and damp ravine. The area was rich with poisonous bugs and snakes. Although the tripod was lost, it was still not too difficult to catch poisonous bugs and replenish his supply of poison. However, he could only hope to catch common poison bugs. Without the aid of the tripod, he could no longer catch rare bugs, which possessed deadly poison. One matter caused him endless worries. He was afraid that the experts from the Central Plains might discover the origin of the tripod, and they would seek to destroy it. Thus, he hoped to resolve this matter quickly so that he could stop worrying. He met a bunch of his disciples at the borders of Shanxi. His head disciple, Zhai Xingzi, was fortunate to preserve his life, but he lost all his martial arts. He was beaten and humiliated by fellow martial brothers. His second disciple, Shi Biren, temporarily took over the post of head disciple. All the disciples saw their master and was scared of being punished, as they failed to complete their task. Fortunately, the old freak of Xingxiu needed all the help he could get, and he postponed all punishments and hoped his disciples could redeem themselves by performing a good service. Along the way, the group inquired about the beggars' clan, but firstly, their appearance was strange and their behaviors deplorable. No one was willing to reveal the information to them. Secondly, Xiao Feng was in the Liao Empire and became the lord of the southern chancellery, but people from the martial world did not know about this matter. Thus, they could not find any news about the beggars' clan, and they couldn't even find the main branch of the clan. On this day, Tian Liangzi inadvertently found out about the gathering of the great wisdom hall of the beggars' clan. He wanted to claim credit for this piece of information, and he infiltrated the beggars' clan alone. But he eventually fell prey to Chang Guanqing's schemes. Luckily, his body already contained the essence of poison, and the scorpion's poison failed to kill him. He escaped and reported the matter to his master. Ding Chunqiu immediately rushed over, but he did not expect that with his deadly poison and profound martial arts, he was subdued by giant pythons and immobilized. Ding Chunqiu did not answer Chang Guanqing's question. He said coldly, "There is a person called Xiao Feng in your beggars' clan. Where is he? Quickly, ask him to come out and see me." Chang Guanqing's heart was shaken. He asked, "You want to see Xiao Feng? What for?" Ding Chunqiu said proudly, Divine Elder of Xingqiu is asking you a question. Why aren't you answering? You keep asking useless questions. Where is Xiao Feng?" Chang Guanqing saw Ding Chunqiu was immobilized by the poison. He had already lost the power to resist, but his manner was still arrogant and ferocious. Such courage was really rare in this world. He said, "It's said that the old freak of Xingxiu is all-knowing, but I think it's just undeserved reputation. You can't even handle a few small snakes. I am sorry. We have to help the world get rid of a great evil today." Ding Chunqiu smiled and said, "This old man is careless. I fell into the trap of these cold-blooded reptiles. I will die today. It's really fate." But he did not finish, as one of his disciples, who was trapped by the poison, suddenly shouted, "Heroes of the beggars' clan, please release me. You will have great benefit. My master is proficient in trickery. You can never guard against him. Just a minor slip-up, and you will fall into his trap." Chang Guanqing said coldly, "And how do we benefit by releasing you?" "There are 3 treasures in my Xingxiu sect. They are called Xingxiu 3 treasures. Only the old freak of Xingxiu and me knows its hidden location. If you release me, I will help you kill the old freak and offer you the treasures. If you kill me, you will never find the treasures." We have a traitor in our midst. Another Xingxiu disciple cried out, great hero, don't be fooled by him. One of the 3 treasures is already stolen. It's better for you to release me. I am the loyal one. I will never lie to you." In an instant, numerous Xingxiu disciples clamored, "Heroes of Beggars' Clan, it's best if you spare me. Neither of them are loyal. I will serve you wholeheartedly. Great hero, I know most of the martial arts of the Xingxiu sect. I will tell you everything. I won't hide them from you. There's a great conspiracy surrounding our arrival in the Central Plains. The main purpose is to deal with the Beggars' Clan. Great heroes, do you want to know all the inside information? Our Xingxiu Sea hides unlimited gold, silvers, and rare treasure. I know the hiding spot of every treasure. I will lead all of you there and dig it out. Heroes of the Beggars' Clan, you no longer need to beg for food anymore." These people kept bootlicking and tried to pledge their loyalty. Some tried to offer treasures. Some tried to stir up curiosity by revealing secret plans. Some of their words were outright lies and completely absurd. Some Xingqiu disciples were on the verge of death due to being poisoned and constricted by the snakes. They struggled for air to beg for forgiveness. Members of the Beggars Clan did not expect that the disciples of the Xingqiu sect were so spineless, thus they despised them. But their sense of curiosity was aroused, and they moved closer to listen attentively. Chen Guanqing said coldly, "You are not loyal to even your own master. How can you pledge loyalty to total strangers? Aren't you ridiculous?" A Xingqiu disciple replied, "No, it's different, very different. The old freak of Xingqiu has lousy skills. What's the future prospect in following him? What's the benefit in following him? How can the old freak of Xingqiu be a match for the Beggars Clan?" "Yay! Beggars Clan taking the disciples of the Xingqiu sect. Western and Central Plains will be in shock. Who dare not admire the heroes of the Beggars Clan?" "The word hero is not sufficient to describe you. We have to refer you as chivalrous hero, saint, savior of commoners." "I am articulate and good with words. I will travel to the four corners of the earth and spread the words about your great kindness. The chivalrous heroes of the Beggars Clan will be renowned throughout the entire world." "Peh! The chivalrous heroes of the Beggars Clan is already famous throughout the world. Why do they even need you to advertise? I thought of the title of saint and savior of commoners for them. They bestow intelligence upon me." A 5-pouch Beggars Clan disciple frowned and said, "You lot of scumbags, making so much racket. Listening to you lot made us fed up. Old freak of Xingqiu, you are really good for nothing. Why did you accept these shameless people as disciples? I'll send you to heaven first, and then I'll let these lot of scumbags follow you. I'm going to slaughter the whole lot of you today." As he finished, he gave a shout and sent his palm towards Ding Chunqiu. This palm strike was accompanied by rapid wind, the strength behind it extremely strong and fierce. It landed on Ding Chunqiu's chest, but Ding Chunqiu was completely unharmed. The beggar felt his knees soften, and he collapsed onto the ground. He curled up and started twitching. After a while, he was motionless. The crowd of the Beggars Clan members were surprised. They shouted, "What happened?" 2 beggars came out to help him. When the 2 men touched his body, they started shaking also and collapsed after a while. 3 nearby Beggars Clan disciples naturally stretched out their hands to support them, but when they touched the 2 men, they also collapsed. The rest of the crowd was stunned. They no longer dared to touch their fallen comrades. Okay. I think we're done. That's a good place to stop, okay? Alright, did you guys like that chapter? Yeah, I didn't think this old man would die so easily, right? Yeah. If he's so powerful, like, he can't die like this. He must have something else up his sleeve. Bloop, bloop. Yeah, good chapter. We also saw Duan Yu again. Yay. We haven't seen him for so long. Alright, cheers. Everyone in that sect is literally toxic. they're total traitors. They have no loyalty. Yeah. What happens when he escapes? What's going to happen? It's going to be very funny. It's going to be interesting to see how he deals with his disloyal disciples. The old freak is going to need to find all new disciples. Yeah. All right. So I think we see we're introduced to one new villain, right? Ding Chunqiu, the old freak of Xingqiu. Seems like an interesting dude. All right. Well, glad you guys joined. All right, thanks for coming. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.